I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
That's right. Absolutely free, folks. Head over to MyPillow.com. Support our platform. Help us out here. Also, support an America First company. Just go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Oreo. Good afternoon. It is, 3:31 here on the left coast. We got a lot to actually go over with you. Right now. We had Trump sign some new executive orders, take a lot of comments and a lot of questions. There's some stuff on Ukraine, and we're going to get through all that. There's also some wokeism we got to share with you. So welcome in. If I can get you guys to do me a favor, jump over and hit that like button. Share this out. Let me see who's in the chat right now. Nola's in the chat. Susan Spencer, hello. Jay keeps asking. Trina G. And Texas Bigfoot, KLM79. And here in a moment, we're going to have an update. We're going to have an update on the attacker from yesterday at the Washington, D.C. protest that attacked our good friend Big D. And so I talked to Big D earlier, and so we got some updates on that we're going to share with you, and want to say thank you for all you guys tuning in. Oh, that sucks. Wonder why it does that. But thank you guys again. Jeff in the house. Oh, I'm pink again. Man, we love our colored folks in here, Jeff. We just love our colored folks. Thank you for being a subscriber. So we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about CNN just having an absolute meltdown. We're going to play a video from one of our favorite shows, The View. The View. Mom X Swift is in the house now. Rockstar's in the house. Kimber's in the house. Deb V. Thank you guys for being in here. So check this out. On The View, I just love this because it almost sounded like Whoopi had some common sense. We say all the time when they're sending $10 million for circumcisions to another country, like, I didn't vote for that. That's my tax dollars. Listen to what Whoopi says right here, and it's just a short clip, but listen to this. Oh, let me get it back. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. There we go. If COVID had a face.
Let me say someplace that could really use a lot of cutting. You know, Elon has very many, what do you call it?
Government contracts. Yeah.
I think, because I don't remember, maybe y'all heard it, but I don't remember looking for an armored car. And I don't remember, I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what she's talking about there, and we all feel this way about our tax dollars, huh? I feel the same way with about probably 60% of welfare. Those people that I drive by every day that don't put in any effort and don't work, why are they getting my tax dollars? But she is talking about a contract that Biden did, the Department of Defense did. We've covered it through the week, and again, they're still going on with the lies that like somehow trying to insinuate Trump's given Elon some just awesome contracts and business and American taxpayer dollars. But let me explain what it was. The Department of Defense was looking for armored vehicles. This was for our man, I want to draw a blank here. Our embassies. So we need armored vehicles for our embassies. So the Department of Defense went out for a bid. Elon Musk was the only company with Tesla that came back. So he was honored the contract. That's how bidding works. If Chevy would have came back, I mean, now it's Department of Defense and it was the Biden regime. So even if a Tesla was probably 30% less expensive, they wouldn't have got it, but nobody else came back. So they're trying to insinuate somehow that because of Trump, Elon's getting these contracts. But I love what else she said. Listen to this.
Heard it, but I don't remember looking for an armored car. And I don't remember. I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it.
I don't know why I'm paying for it. Welcome to America, Whoopi. Get on board. That's what we've all been talking about. I'm not a Ukrainian citizen. It's not my war. Why am I paying for it? Right, Whoopi? You made yourself. This was a beautiful one. I love when they step in it, and this was seriously stepping in it.
Yeah, I want to know, when did I say, hey, we need another agency next to NASA? Yeah. So when did we start paying for his stuff?
You talking about SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. He's going to be cutting. Yeah. NASA. Yeah. That's the competition. So what is the real deal here? Money. If we want to cut some money, let's cut some of these. I'm okay with that.
So she's okay with leaving our astronauts up at an international space station. So the reason why SpaceX got some contracts is because we have astronauts that are stuck up in space. And guess what? The U.S. government, the way we operate with all the fat and bloatingness, we needed an outside private industry that actually works instead of just all the bureaucracy. So she wants to leave the astronauts up there, but I couldn't agree with her more. My tax dollars, I never signed up for the people in front of me at line to have steak, lobster, and everything else when I'm sitting there and lucky to get ground beef because, well, why? I got to work for my money, and they don't. They get the benefit. So I just thought that was great of Whoopi Goldberg. Now check this one out, Mayor Eric Adams. There's some new stuff we're going to be breaking right now about Eric Adams. We talked earlier. There's calls, and Governor Kathy Hochul of New York is thinking about just removing him from office, taking away the will of the voters. You had Al Sharpton there earlier, the race baiter, who was saying that, putting his 2 cents in, like his 2 cents matters. Who is he? He's nobody. He hasn't done anything with his life. Take a look at what Eric Adams says. I love it because when these people talk out against their own party, you see it all the time. When a gay person says, I'm not part of that cult, I'm not part of this gay flag, but it's got to be up at your city council. We need to shove it down your kid's throat. I'm not into the transgender stuff. We need to, when they speak out against like gender mutilization of children, they're exiled from the gays. They're exiled from the LGBT. No different with the Democrat cult. Listen to what he says to the fake news right here. This is great.
Mayor Adams, why don't you take questions from the press?
Just make a path for us, that's all.
Look at the people wanting to take pictures with him.
All right, thank you.
Why don't you take questions from the press?
Y'all liars.
What are we lying about exactly?
Yeah.
Because you all liars. You all liars. Because again, media is upset with him because the media being a part of the Democrat Party, an arm of the Democrat Party. They want this invasion. That's how you destroy it from within. They don't want Mayor Eric Adams to be honest with the American people and saying, New York's being destroyed. New York, I'm having to cut police and fire because we're using that money on illegals who aren't working, who have no right to be here. And now they are even more upset that he is working with Tom Homan. But check this out. I just seen this pop up before we went live. So it looks like a New York judge is ordering Trump DOJ officials and New York City Mayor Eric Adams to appear in court tomorrow to explain the motion to drop Adams' case. I'm going to play a little bit of video. This is from CBS, so you know which way it leans, but I just want you to get an idea.
It is a very significant development and a significant moment in the mayor's case. I think that the judge, having ordered all the parties to appear before him tomorrow to make arguments and answer questions about what has happened, indicates the judge is going to do his job and carefully try to understand the facts before he makes a decision as to whether the government's motion is justified. I think the significance of the case has been talked about a great deal in recent days. Obviously, it's the mayor of the city of New York, one of the most powerful and influential political players in the United States, and the Southern District of New York, one of the most powerful and one of the best regarded U.S. attorney's offices in the United States. To have the Justice Department at odds with the leadership of the Southern District of New York leading the acting head of that.
So pretty much, as I kind of explained to you, the New York judge ordering the Trump DOJ officials as well as Eric Adams to understand the facts before making a decision as to whether the government grants the motion and whether that is justified. I would love to be a fly on the wall. I don't know if this is going to be aired publicly or not. I'm going to look for it. But we know that Mayor Eric Adams, and I'm not saying he's a good dude. Not saying that at all. I'm not saying that he's pro-America. I'm not. There's a lot of stuff, and he's probably done some things wrong. But this all surfaced when he started speaking up against the invasion going on at the southern border and how there was tens of thousands ending up in New York City. They're in 4-star hotels. They were getting 3 meals a day. All this being taxpayer funded. And when he, at first, come on in, he was the sanctuary mayor, right? New York is a sanctuary state. Come on in. We're not going to be like all these red states. Remember those days? And then bus after bus, sometimes 7 to 9 buses a day showing up in New York City, just dropping off people that had came into this country illegally. And he's starting to look at his budget and he's like, we can't sustain this. As soon as he spoke up and said, we can't sustain this, that's when the FBI got involved, the weaponized FBI. And so again, so we talked earlier, a senior DOJ prosecutor resigned. And the reason why that senior DOJ prosecutor resigned, they were told to investigate Biden's climate spending. They refused that. Her name was Denise Chung. She was a senior DOJ prosecutor, and she didn't want to investigate Biden's climate spending. And there might be more reason to that, but I wanted to clarify that because we talked about it on our first one. Libs of TikTok shared this. The Kansas state legislator just voted to overturn Governor Laura Kelly's veto of the Help Not Harm Act. This act, which bans sex change surgeries and puberty blockers for minors, now becomes law. She put this up here. Here's the person that wanted that vetoed. The governor. And that's Senate Bill 63, Act Concerning Children and Minors Relating to the Health Care of Minors, Enacting Help Not Harm. Exactly what we need to do. We don't need to harm. We don't need to permanently, you're 12, 13, 14 years old. You got a lot of things going on upstairs. You're going through a lot of changes. Instead of saying, I'm a girl, and they say, okay, let's cut off your penis. Let's put some estrogen in you. Let's do this. Let's give you puberty blockers. Instead of doing that, we're going to help them understand that a large percentage of those people who do not have the sex change surgery actually grow out of this. And but the Democrats want to just destroy our children. So that's great news. That's great news. Again, that was Kansas state legislator, and that was Governor Laura Kelly. So small wins here and there, we'll take them. Another governor vetoed something. I thought this was interesting. We've talked a lot about Arizona. Actually, after the 2020 elections, we went to Arizona for the audit. It was, I think it was near Phoenix, Arizona. We went inside the audit center. We live streamed that for you. It says Arizona governor just vetoed HB 2703. Check this, what the bill does. A bill to make elections results faster and safer. Now, this was passed by the constituents elected in Arizona. So it's already gone through the hurdles to get to the governor's desk. And you ask yourself, why would the governor not sign this? Well, it's pretty clear, and I think you guys know why if you've watched any of our coverage on Arizona, especially Katie Hobbs. It's going to be interesting what she does, because we know a lot of times the decision she made, even at our southern border, was almost like maybe she's working hand in hand with the cartel. This is the letter here. It says, we are writing you to urge you to sign HB 2703, which was passed by both the Arizona House and Senate last week. This is critical legislation, is essential to ensure that Arizona election results are consistently reported in a secure, accurate, and timely manner. For this reason, it is popular with Arizonans across the political spectrum, as it is not partisan to expect results on election night. I would have to agree with that. It says, over the past decade, Arizona has gained reputation for taking weeks to count and report election results for offices from the top to the bottom of the ballot. We are now known as one of the last in the nation when it comes to election reporting. These delays and inefficiencies are not primarily the fault of election officials, but rather the result of outdated election laws that hinder the process. HB 2703 directly addresses the systemic issues Arizona's voters have made it clear. The status quo is no longer acceptable. They are watching closely to see how their leaders respond. This is why legislator, county records, and election officials across the state work collaboratively to craft HB 27, ensuring it provides practical, effective solution to the recurring delays in ballot processing and results reporting. And wouldn't you know? So again, it starts off by telling you it was passed by both the Arizona House and the Arizona Senate last week. And that was vetoed by Governor Katie Hobbs of Arizona. You ask yourself, wow, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, it is kind of crazy, isn't it? It's amazing that we continue to see this. And it's one side. It's one side that don't want election integrity. Again, we should be hand counting our ballots, to be honest with you, but it's pretty sad that we are the United States of America, and it takes weeks to find out who won a Senate seat, a governorship. This needs to end, and Trump is already working on things. So I can promise you, we're going to talk about Trump's executive orders today. Another promise made, another promise kept. But before we do, more trans terror. A 19-year-old trans person has been arrested over a double homicide investigation in Rockland County, New York. Alina Abad of Westwood, New York, is accused of killing 2 female victims in a brutal beating on February 15th at an apartment building on Jesner Drive. Says, and we'll just show you this person. We constantly see more and more of this trans terror. They play dress up, make believe, or whatever you want to call it. But there is a serious threat to this country when we're seeing more and more of these trans terrorists. We're actually going to talk about how the police picked up a couple trans terrorists that we had been talking about over the last couple weeks. But this is the person that.
You niggas fuck cause I'm my mother's daughter. Fine little shit, her money got taller. Rappers ain't shit, I might fuck with a baller. Might fuck with a scammer. You niggas fuck cause I'm my mother's daughter. Fine little shit.
So, yeah, and just in case you're watching and you need any type of counseling, you can never be something you're not. If God created you as a man, you will always be a man. You might be a man without a penis, but guess what? You cannot change how God created you. Now, this one's from Andy No. This is the one we talked about. It says, trying to find where it started out. At large, Trantifa terror cult. Let's show you. Trantifa terror cult leader Jack Andrea Ziz Lesotho and his co-member Michelle J. Zasco have finally been arrested. They were caught in Allegheny County, Maryland overnight on February 16th. Both of them were armed. Let's see if we can pull up these beautiful pictures of these people. I mean, just look at the eyes. You can see a lot there when you look into someone's eyes, or lack thereof. And so you go down here, it says Ziz, Trantifa terror member Daniel Arthur Blank was arrested alive and well, along with Jack Lesotho and Michelle Zadko in a rural Appalachian mountain areas of Maryland on February 16th. Blank had been missing from his family since late 2022. There were rumors he had died, but this was another lie. And here's a little video he did.
Jack Ziz Lesotho, the leader of the Trantifa terror cult, he's been apprehended alive. He was armed, but they got him in Maryland. And one of the other armed and dangerous wanted members, Michelle Zajko, was also apprehended. You can look at the pictures. It appears that Michelle Zajko drastically altered her appearance by shaving her head. It looks like she was pretending to be dead in the booking photo. This is a developing breaking story. I'm trying my best to find out.
So I actually seen that when it was done. Remember, part of this this trans terror group was part of the people that killed a Border Patrol officer at our northern border. And let's see if there was some other information. But this was literally a Trantifa cult. And they are wanted in connection to multiple suspicious deaths, murders. They had a loaded 6-hour pistol on their waistband. And February 18. They had a court hearing today. And it says, I'll put this up on the screen so you guys can see this. Said at his first court hearing, the leader of the trans terror group said, I shouldn't be here. I haven't done anything wrong. This person is a biological female who identifies as trans non-binary. It says trans terror cult members were all denied bail at their first hearing in Allegheny County, even though they're only currently charged with misdemeanors. They are considered a high flight risk. Here's where they were found. It says, unlike last month when the FBI slow-walked their investigation into the Trans-Tifa terror cult, they moved quickly to Frostburg, Maryland, and took the box truck and property used by the group. Maryland State Police are out in full force on the property to prevent media from trespassing. So that's good. Now we're going to follow up and make sure that those people get prosecuted. Now, an update. Yesterday, we had Big D on here on our second show, and he was assaulted. Let me pull this up. I got to pull up my notes because when he called, I was... let's see. Okay. Where's my notes? Got to remember which phone I put. Okay. So, let me pull this one up. This is the person. So, just to let you know, talking to Big D, the U.S. attorney contacted Big D, said that they were going to charge him with this person here with the highest count of assault, which is an assault with a dangerous weapon. So on a tier of 1 to 5, that on the assault Richter scale, that is a 5. Also said that they have requested that this person be held until pre-trial. They said they couldn't guarantee anything, but that they did put that recommendation in. He will get more information. He will relay it to us. Maybe we'll have him back on the show tomorrow. But this is just more information of the person that went up to Big D while he was just live streaming. He was out there, came up, spray painted him with a chemical, and got it in his eyes, on his glasses, on the side of his head, on his hat. And that person was arrested. That person's going to learn some new lessons in the FO stage. But talking to Big D, the U.S. attorney seemed like they were going to do everything they could to prosecute this person. We're hoping that because they've asked for him to be held. Now, this isn't normal in D.C. There's a new sheriff in town, folks. They're not going to allow this. You're not going to come up with your hate crimes and be able to do this anymore. And this is going to send a big message to all those basement dwellers that spend 6 hours a day with 34 viewers in the live stream trying to encourage others to commit violence on Trump supporters. This is going to, there's some more on the outside that I can't discuss yet. Well, we've talked about it a little bit yesterday with some of those people and their ties to government contracts. But this could be one of those that sends a message down to the other people. If this would have been 2 years ago, you've seen what they got away with 2 years ago in D.C. So I'm hoping now we actually have a police force in the District of Columbia and prosecutors that are going to go through and actually do something. Obviously, it's going to be up to the judges for that final say, but this was good news. So he seemed to be okay. I think he's had some headaches and some other stuff that's just from the chemicals and a little eye irritation, but he should be good. Check this out. More good news from Trump before we get into promises made, promises kept. Donald Trump says after the past 4 years, the Department of Justice has been politicized like never before. Therefore, I have instructed the termination of all remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys. We must clean house immediately and restore confidence. America's golden age must have a fair justice system. That begins today, folks. That is incredible. I love it. I love it, man. Like the things that you wouldn't see in the first administration, they're not even messing around with now. They don't care. They don't care. They've learned. We've been able to overtake the legacy media. It doesn't matter what legacy media. Oh, he's Hitler. He's a Nazi. He's all okay. Next. Keep trying. It's not working. Remember Kamala Harris and many of the Democrat lies? Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda could effectively ban IVF, preventing families like Yesenia and her husband from their chance to have a child. Remember this when this was a big thing for about 10 days of the election, that Trump was going to ban IVF. There was a lot. Take a look at this. The Democrats, the only candidate running for president of the United States who will protect IVF is President Kamala Harris. Joe Biden, Republicans led by Donald Trump threatening access to abortion, contraceptive, and IVF. Look at Tim Walz. A lot of you guys might not remember him. It says, even if you are never gone through the hell of infertility, someone you know has. When Gwen and I were having trouble getting pregnant, the anxiety and frustration blotted out the sun. J.D. Vance opposing the miracle of IVF is a direct attack on my family and so many others. Or how about Pansy Boy Harry? He put, WTF, Donald Trump's press secretary was asked if Trump would protect IVF access, and she refused to answer the question. She won't say if he would sign a law to protect IVF or not. It's insane. This is the Republican Party. They want to control women. Now, all this was going on when Trump came out to the cameras, to the microphones, and said, I will do everything in my power to protect IVF and make it more affordable for families. Well, what did the Democrats do? They continued to lie. What did Trump do today? Well, here we go. Let me show you. Trump signed an executive order making families great again. It says President Trump has taken bold action to expand access to IVF. His executive order directs policy recommendations to safeguard IVF treatments and lower cost, making fertility care more affordable for American families. Now, remember, he was going to cut that off. And it was just great to see because I was actually just flipping through trying to find stuff for the next show, seeing what was breaking. And I remember Trump coming out and said, no, when I get in there. But it's not the fact that he's doing all this sometime in his presidency. He hasn't even been in office for 30 days, folks. You talk about promises made, promises kept. National emergency at our border. Declare the cartels terrorist organizations. All these things to help make our community safer, to help get the fentanyl out. And we're going to talk about what is being used on our southern border now at the end of the show that makes some things a little safer.
Details of that
hasn't been used on our southern border ever. So more technology out there. President Trump just signed 3 new executive orders. Here you go, guys. Let's listen to them.
A short while ago, President Trump signed three items. The first is an executive order relating to the affordability and availability of in vitro fertilization and other fertility treatments. These are treatments that have become unaffordable for many Americans or have been unaffordable for many Americans. And the executive order is a directive to the Domestic Policy Council to examine ways to make IVF and other fertility treatments more affordable for more Americans. The second item that we signed was a presidential memorandum imposing radical transparency requirements on government departments and agencies in keeping with President Trump and the administration's broader commitment to governmental transparency. What this presidential memorandum would do is require, as waste, fraud, and abuse is uncovered, as programs are canceled, and ultimately as taxpayer dollars are saved, this presidential memorandum would require departments and agencies to make all of the details of that freely available to the public. Lastly, we have another executive order that President Trump signed relating to independent agencies. This executive order would establish important oversight functions in the Office of Management and Budget and its subsidiary office, OIRA, supervising independent agencies and many of their actions, and also reestablishes the longstanding norm that only the president or the attorney general can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is.
So there you have it. And he stuck around for a press conference. That's great. Radical transparency, lowering the cost of IVF, and establishing oversight to supervise independent agencies. But the radical transparency, that's the thing that I don't even think we understand what radical transparency is supposed to look like. In my lifetime, I have not seen a transparent government. And when I say that, guess what? We did have 4 years of Trump. Trump didn't do all this his first time around. There was still the Social Security Department. There was still the IRS. I didn't know where their money was going. As we've seen, we uncovered USAID. I didn't know they were funding, even through Trump's term, this radical ideology and trying to put the LGBTQP cult stuff into other countries, trying to force that on other countries that generally have a conservative social view on things. But it's going to be interesting to see what this transparency ends up looking like. Listen to this.
Thank you.
Listen to this. We're going to have some huge breaking news in the next couple weeks. And listen to Trump on this.
Very much, Will. That was the primary purpose of this conference, to explain that they're all very important in their own way. Fertilization, I've been saying that we're going to do what we have to do. Explain that they're all very important in their own way. Fertilization, I've been saying that we're going to do what we have to do. And I think the women and families, husbands, are very appreciative of it. But that was it. I do want to say while I'm up here, I've been contacted by some of the biggest companies in the world. And because of what we're doing economically and through tariffs and taxes and incentives, they want to come back into the United States. And we'll be announcing various very large companies, the biggest actually. And they'll be coming back, having to do with chips and having to do also with cars and lots of other things. We're going to be announcing some very, very big, momentous decisions are being made by companies all around the world, the biggest, and they want to come back into the U.S. Car plants are being canceled in other locations now because they want to build them here. And you read about a couple, not that I want to mention names or anything, but you read about a couple of big ones in Mexico just got canceled because they're going to be building them in the United States. And that's very simply because of what we're doing with respect to taxes, tariffs, and incentives. And I think it's a very important thing. And you'll be seeing this over the next, probably over the next 2 years, to be honest. But you're going to see a lot of it over the next couple of weeks, a lot of big
Promises made, promises kept again, bringing back manufacturing to the United States. Trump is in talks with some of these places. I can't wait to hear the great news. I know you can't either. But there was a lot more that he discussed. There was a lot more that he discussed during this press conference. And one of the things that we're just going to touch on, it's not very important, but I just want you to listen to how Trump's take on it. We've been covering how the left is saying that Trump's violating the First Amendment with the Associated Press. Trump has not stopped him from publishing. Trump isn't doing what Joe Biden did, using his FBI to contact, Meta and X and all these and saying, hey, we want their memes removed. Do you remember the Twitter files? Yeah, I do too. But listen to what Trump says about the AP and listen to this really quick. And then we got some more hard-hitting stuff, even on Ukraine. Even on Ukraine, the libtards are totally, the Adam Kinzingers of the world are flipping out right now.
It's a whole big scam. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. I want to ask you a little closer to home. What would it take for you to reconsider the restrictions on the Associated Press? And secondly, some of your advisors are concerned with the Associated Press's style guide, using language and giving guidance to not use words like illegal immigrant or to use phrases like gender affirming care. And they're concerned about that being an encroaching amount of liberalism in the way in which the press writes about things. Do you share those concerns?
Well, I do think that some of the phrases that they want to use are ridiculous. And I think, frankly, they become obsolete, especially in the last 3 weeks.
I just love that. It's no longer gender affirming care. It's gender mutilization now, because we have a real president that really looks out for the children. And I love the way he said that.
Because many things have happened in the last 3 weeks. And I didn't know about that, but I would say that if they want to use certain phrases like that, and I guess some are okay, but many aren't. But the Associated Press just refuses to go with what the law is and what is taking place. It's called the Gulf of America now. It's not called the Gulf of Mexico any longer. I have the right to do it, just like we have the right to do Mount McKinley, and nobody's even challenging that. But only essentially, it's primarily the Associated Press. And I don't know what they're doing, but I just say that we're going to keep them out until such time as they agree that it's the Gulf of America. We're very proud of this country, and we want it to be the Gulf of America. Now, the Associated Press, as you know, has been very, very wrong on the election, on Trump and the treatment of Trump and other things having to do with Trump and Republicans and conservatives. And they're doing us no favors. And I guess I'm not doing them any favors. That's the way life works. But, thank you for the question.
I love that. They're not doing me no favors. I'm not doing them no favors. That is epic. Again, he was, again, the most transparent president of our lifetime. They would never have let Biden sit up there and answer policy questions. What's going on? You see, they've sent Jill Biden up there to get him to stop talking. And then Biden, they don't want me to say anything anymore. I'll mess it up. But listen, he spent about 4 minutes listing the waste, abuse, and fraud that DOJ, and we got an update on DOJ and their court, one of the court things that ruled in their favor again today. Listen to this. Listen to Mr.
500
Trump.
Where's the money being spent, right? Let's go into that second. $520 million for a consultant on the environment. It's called Environmental, Social, and Governance Investments in Africa, and mobilize private sector resources. $520 million. Somebody got $520 million for an environmental, sounds like an environmental study. I've always been one that paid a lot of money for my environmental studies, but I paid like $50,000, not $520 million. $520 million for ESG. $25 million to promote biodiversity, conservation, and promote licit livelihoods by developing socially responsible behavior in the country of Colombia. Well, it's nice. $25 million going to Colombia for something that nobody ever heard of. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. $40 million. $42 million for Johns Hopkins, great place, to research and drive social and behavior change in Uganda. $42 million. What about us? What about social change in our country? $70 million for a center at Purdue to research university-sourced, evidence-based solutions to developmental challenges. I mean, these are massive numbers on things that nobody ever heard about. $10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcisions. $10 million for circumcisions in another country. $9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. In other words, let's teach them something about enterprise. What about our people? Can't we teach them about enterprise? $2.3 million.
You notice he keeps referring back to our people. America first, folks. America first. And this is what Democrats hate more than anything, because as that famous saying goes, we're not going to be destroyed by a foreign country. We're going to be destroyed from within. And that's what they were doing by funding all these other countries and not worried about American citizens, American students, America. This is what they were trying to do, and this is why they are so worried about what's going on.
For strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. $32 million to the Prague Civil Society Center, which is a very liberal group of people. Wonder how much of that money came back to the people that approved it. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. Well, why are we giving $21 million to India? They got a lot of money. They're one of the highest taxing countries in the world in terms of us. We can hardly get in there because their tariffs are so high. I have a lot of respect for India. I have a lot of respect for the prime minister. He just left, as you know, 2 days ago. But we're giving $21 million for voter turnout. It's voter turnout in India. What about like voter turnout here? Oh, we've done that, I guess. We did 500 million, didn't we? It's called the lock boxes. $20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. Listen to these numbers. This is all fraud. $19 million for biodiversity conservation in Nepal. $1.5 million for voter confidence. We want to give them confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $2.5 million for inclusive democracies in South Africa. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well. They're doing a lot better than we do in the schools, aren't they? $2 million to develop sustainable recycling models to increase socioeconomic cohesion among marginalized communities in Kosovo and Eskali and in Egypt. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. I could, by the way, I could read this all day long. I could go on all day long, and you'll see hundreds of billions of dollars.
Wow. It was almost laughable. I was cracking up for some of the stuff that America's paying money for in other countries. And he just kept coming back. Oh, what about Americans? That's the way our government has ran for a long time. My entire life. Every time they get a chance to create something new, and I want to fund inclusion in some foreign land, they just take your tax dollars and fund it, guys. They just take. But we got some more coming up here right now with some of the stuff that was talked about Ukraine that is upsetting some of the left, if you will. But first off, 1775coffee.com. Check it out. Do you enjoy the free speech that Rumble is protecting and fighting for? That's how you're able to watch us on here. Our show on Rumble is only possible thanks to our viewers supporting Rumble's platform by purchasing Rumble products. Most of you drink coffee every day. That's why you have to try Rumble's 1775 coffee. It's actually some of the best coffee, and it's the same price as the coffee you buy now, but it's way better. Rumble 1775 coffee is free from chemicals, yet rich in flavor. This is because their beans are sourced from high-altitude farms in Bolivia, handpicked, roasted weekly at their facility in Miami, and delivered fresh to your doorstep. And as a believer in freedom, buying from Rumble helps fight back against the woke corporations like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. Join the coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com, use code STUDIO, and get a free month's supply of their cognitive boosting supplement, Limitless, when you buy 2 bags of their coffee. Think about that. It's a crazy deal, and the supplement is worth more than the 2 bags of coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com. Try their amazing coffee. Again, that promo code is STUDIO. We appreciate you guys, again, supporting a free speech platform. It's our main platform on here. And again, we want to see them do well. So thank you guys. And for those of you that go and check out their sponsors. So let's move on now. Let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else. Little bit on Ukraine. Little bit on Ukraine.
Given $100 billion.
Listen to
and
this.
We've given less.
You guys are going to love this.
Is that we gave him? Well, we gave them, I believe, $350 billion. But let's say it's something less than that. But it's a lot, and we have to equalize with Europe because Europe has given a very much smaller percentage than that. I think Europe has given $100 billion, and we've given, let's say, 300 plus. And it's more important for them than it is for us. We have an ocean in between, and they don't. But where is all the money that's been given? Where is it going? And I've never seen an accounting of it. We give hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't see any accounting. So I want to see peace. Look, you know why I want? Because I don't want all these people killed anymore. I'm looking at people that we gave him. Well, we gave them, I believe, $350 billion. But let's say it's something less than that. But it's a lot. And we have to equalize with Europe because Europe has given a very much smaller percentage than that. I think Europe has given $100 billion, and we've given, let's say, 300 plus. And it's more important for them than it is for us.
Where's it going, guys? Where's it going? Same question we've been asking for. And again, I voted for that. They also talked about Ukraine. And if you guys didn't know, right now, Zelensky is an unelected leader, a dictator of Ukraine, if you will. They have pretty much martial law going on. They didn't have an election. A lot of people, the news don't talk about that. That seems like if that would have been Trump doing that because of a war or something, you can guarantee there would be calls, protest, everything else. But a lot of these people are only protesting to get your tax dollars over to Ukraine. Take a listen.
Russia wants to force Ukraine to hold new elections in order to sign any kind of a peace deal. Is that something that the U.S. would ever support?
Well, we have a situation where we haven't had elections in Ukraine, where we have martial law, essentially martial law in Ukraine, where the leader in Ukraine, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's down at 4% approval rating, and where a country has been blown to smithereens. And yeah, I would say that, when they want a seat at the table, you could say the people wouldn't the people of Ukraine have to say, like, it's been a long time since we've had an election. That's not a Russia thing. That's something coming from me and coming from many other countries also.
And because of that, the people, the arm of the Democrat Party is saying Trump is a Russian asset. We can't get enough of them. We love them. We pray for them. But it's just hilarious. Again, not my war. As Whoopi said, I didn't vote for my tax dollars to go over to Ukraine. I am done with it. This was another one. This video is actually shared to make Trump look bad, like cut out of context. I think it makes him look really good.
Well,
Take
they've had
a
a
listen.
seat for 3 years.
Do you have any message for Ukrainians who, after 3 years of fighting, might feel betrayed or disappointed at not having a seat in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think I'm really disappointed in what's happened. I've been watching this for 3 years. It's a war that would have never happened if I was president. And I've been watching these people being killed at levels that you've rarely seen, not even close, since the Second World War. And I'm very disappointed. I hear that, they're upset about not having a seat. Well, they've had a seat for 3 years and a long time before that. This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago without the loss of much land, very little land, without the loss of any lives, and without the loss of cities that are just laying on their sides. You have those magnificent golden domes that are shattered, will never be replaced. You can't replace them. 1,000-year-old domes that are so beautiful. You can't replace that. The whole civilization has changed because of what. So when they're worried about not being seated, you mean somebody that should have gone in and made a deal a long time ago.
And I think the people that voted for Trump can 100% agree with that. I know most of you agree with that 100%. Again, once Biden took office, it seemed like everything, the Middle East, everything just went to crap because we didn't have a leader that was fighting for, I guess you can say, global security. A world that will never have peace in the world, but under Trump the last time, we had as close as you could get to world peace with the Abraham Accords and everything else that was worked out under President Trump. And it only took Biden getting in there and whoever was running that administration. I think we see it by the people leaving. When they talk about Elon's not elected, either were the people that were running our country for the last 4 years before President Trump took office. So their little screams and cries are falling on my deaf ears. They're falling on your deaf ears. And again, I can't say it enough. How many times did Trump, when he was talking about the money wasted, what about our students? What about here in America? It was all about America first. And again, when you run the country like you run a business, this would be like Starbucks sitting there saying, we're going to take 10% of our budget and give it to Dunkin' Donuts. You just don't do that. Now, it's one thing to help out. Again, we are the most giving nation on the planet, and we will continue to be, but not in the sense of where we've been and what has been going on throughout our lifetime. I think it's amazing that he's standing up and doing things. I seen this, and I'll get into a little more detail. A federal judge has denied an urgent request to temporarily block Elon Musk and Doge from firing employees or accessing records from half of a dozen government agencies. So again, when they started uncovering waste, abuse, and fraud, Democrats started running. I mean, they were outside the Department of Education. They were outside of the USAID building. They were they were panicking. That's when their real calls for violence came out, bringing weapons. You got to fight this with weapons. We got to take it to the streets. All this was going on. We can see right through it. The media was right along with those Democrats. We don't want this exposed. Why? We learned that a lot of these little media agencies were funded by me and you, the taxpayer, which doesn't need to happen anymore. And so there's a little bit more on this. Let me show you this. This was from iMeme0. It says plaintiffs the plaintiffs legitimately call into question what appears to be unchecked authority of an unelected individual and an entity that was not created by Congress and over which it has no oversight. Trump thought all this out. We talk about that. This thing that Doge is now, what was it before? The government data department or whatever. Anyways, it was created by Obama by executive order. They changed it. They changed the name of it. So this was not created by Congress. So Congress has no oversight authority on it. And they are flipping mad right now. They are upset. And that was Judge Chutkan again. That was in her ruling. Let me pull that up really quick and show you that there. Plaintiffs, 14 states represented by their attorneys generals, had filed an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order against Elon Musk and the U.S. Department of Government Efficiency Services, U.S. Doge Services Temporary Organization, and President Trump. Emergency motion for a temporary restraining order based on the parties' briefing, oral argument, and the current record. The court finds the plaintiff have not carried their burden of showing that they will suffer imminent, irreparable harm absent a temporary restraining order, and therefore plaintiff's motion is denied. The Democrats are trying to weaponize. They've shopped out judges. We've seen it. Just like when Trump put a ban on gender mutilation, when they're going in there and they're removing a boy's penis at 12 years old because he's confused or he has a mental health issue that he needs to deal with, instead of giving him the correct help, the demonic party has continued to push this narrative like, oh, they need to be a girl now. No, that's not it. But you've had judges step in, and now those judges are being exposed. And again, this is more of the exposing. The last 4 years, Democrats thought we got him this time. We got Trump this time. And every time Trump came out ahead, better in the polls, and leading the current president, or when there was a coup against that current president for the nomination for the 2024 presidential nominee for the Democrats, and they installed Kamala Harris, he wiped her off the face of the map, winning all 7 swing states. Nobody thought it was going to be possible under our current election rules, especially when you see Governor Katie Hobbs today vetoing something when it comes to the election. Nobody thought it would be popular to get the popular vote. Nobody thought it'd be possible to get the popular vote. And what are we seeing? We're seeing the truth. I'm going to pull something up really quick. I'm getting some notifications up here, maybe because these people have Trump derangement syndrome. Let me see. Indiana State Police have arrested a man for making death threats against Elon Musk. Hopefully Matt's still in here. Is Matt in here? Jaylen's in here. I don't see Matt. Hopefully it wasn't Matt. It says the arrest comes after Texas authorities contacted ISP about a 28-year-old Daniel Cherry, who has now been charged with intimidation. Was this the dude that was in D.C. that had the Luigi thing? Let me see. It shows this. I don't think that was him, though. No, that was not him. That's just showing an example. Indiana, let's see. There it is. Just in, Indiana man arrested for allegedly threatening to kill Elon Musk in a series of posts on X. David A. Cherry, 28, is now charged with felony intimidation with a connection to alleged social media death threats. Now, we've had death threats, and I promise you, we've contacted all the correct authorities, and it was pretty much for us. But again, we got a new sheriff in town. We'll cover that again on the update on D right after this, and the person that spray painted him with chemicals at the protest yesterday. But I'm glad they're acting. I'm glad they're making examples out of people. It's not okay to do that. I know the left, the party of love and joy would never do anything. They're so tolerant, but that's all they've been doing is calling for violence and death threats, and they're being exposed. Now, let me go back to this this person here just to give you a quick update in case you were seeing that. That's the person that sprayed Big D with spray paint while he was live streaming the 50-51 protest. I call it the 5150. If you're from California and you know what 5150 is, you'll know why. U.S. attorney contacted Big D. Said there is multiple levels of assault, and the top of that list is assault with a dangerous weapon, and that is what they had charged him with. He was still in jail as of 4 hours ago. It's 4:34 my time, so about 12:30, he was still in jail. The U.S. attorney is asking for him to be held until pretrial. The U.S. attorney, from what Big D told me, it sounded like they weren't confident that would happen. It's not their call. They put in the recommendation. So hopefully they're starting to make an example out of these people that are literally taking away people's civil rights, committing hate crimes, assaulting people with dangerous weapons. All this stuff needs to come to a head. And we need to be there to ensure that that these people are exposed and what they do are exposed. And we're going to be working on more of that, of exposing this violent person more later on this week. So that is great news. That is absolutely great news that this person is going to be held accountable. Let's see. What else do we got here? Now, I wanted you guys to watch some of this. I mentioned it on our last show. The fact that Democrats said Trump couldn't fire certain people. And Sean Spicer came out and said, Biden did the same thing to me. But listen, when we talk about how long Trump's team has been working on exactly what's going on, I want you to watch a bit of this Glenn Beck video. And we're going to break it down a little bit. Sean Spicer is on there. This was planned out to Trump for Trump to have the ability to fire these people for over 4 years. Listen.
Right to have people for White House commission.
My friend Sean Spicer, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I don't want you to tell the end of the story yet. I want you to start.
No.
Yeah, I want you to start at the beginning. What happened when you left the White House and Biden took over as president?
I'll take you back one step further.
Okay.
So I stepped down as White House press secretary, and the president has always been kind and offered to appoint me to a couple boards. He appointed me to two of them. One of them was the White House Commission on Fellows. I was a commissioner there. And then he also was kind enough to make me one of his appointees to the board of visitors of the U.S. Naval Academy. So I was sworn into office. Joe Biden comes into office. And so on January 20th, myself and all of the White House commissioners at that fellowship committee resigned because it's a White House commission and the new president has a right to have people for White House commissions.
Sure.
Fair enough. Well, September 1st, I get an email of 2021 and it says, "Dear Mr. Spicer, thank you for your service to the U.S. Naval Academy Board of Visitors. By 6 o'clock tonight, please submit your resignation or you will be fired." And I thought, whoa, what? Now, just for context, remember, Glenn, September 1st, my term ended November 1st. 60 days later, I was like, you couldn't wait 60 days just to have it for free? So I was like, I've been sworn into office. My term.
Now listen to where this goes and listen to what he says here. This is important. This is strategy. This is the game of chess that Trump is playing against those that are playing checkers.
Was, ended that time, and I obviously wasn't going to get reappointed. Biden had his right to appoint his people. Great. So it turns out that he fired everybody. Myself from the Naval Academy Board, Russ Vought from the Naval Academy Board, and then a guy named H.R. McMaster from the West Point Board, who, by the way, H.R. McMaster, you remember, was the National Security Advisor to Trump, 3-star Army general, who was a graduate of West Point, a distinguished professor at West Point, and the Friday after that Tuesday email was going to be honored at West Point as a distinguished alumni in their awards ceremony. So anyway, he fires us September 1st. I don't resign. I said, I'm not resigning. You can fire me if you want. And then Stephen Miller and America First came to me and
Stephen Miller and America First, listen.
Said, "We have an idea." I said, "Okay, what's the idea?" He goes, "We want to sue Biden." Now, Glenn, I'm not a lawyer. Right. And I said, "Guys, I watch a lot of Law and Order, but how in God's earth, if we sue the guy in September, I mean, my term ends November 1st. We're never going to get back on the board." And they said, no. Let's go to court and make Joe Biden argue that he has the absolute authority to fire anybody. And because we're not going to win the case. They'll rule against us. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So the only people, but here's the kicker, the only people who were willing to put their name on that lawsuit are myself and Russ Vought. Of all of the other people that.
So this had been planned out. They wanted precedent set by the courts that Joe Biden could fire. They wanted it already settled before. We have all these Democrats saying Trump can't do that. Trump can't do this. They've been planning this for over 4 years, folks. They've been planning this for over 4 years. This is incredible. This again is the game of chess. This is the difference between the Biden administration and the Trump administration. We're so
honored that President Trump.
And it's incredible that they had thought this, like, no, fight this. We want you to lose because that opens up the door for Trump when he is elected again in 2024 so he can come in there and clean house. But you didn't hear Democrats screaming that 2 weeks ago. Oh, this is unconstitutional. Trump can't do this. Trump can't do that. Well, turns out he can. Biden did, and the courts ruled. I think that is absolutely epic. And we got Stephen Miller coming up right here. He was on fire on CNN. If you guys want to help out our platform, we appreciate you more than you know. We work off 100% donations. We are 100% viewer funded. If you'd like to donate to us, on the bottom of the screen right there is our Venmo. Venmo Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army, or GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. We appreciate your help. We appreciate you keeping the lights on, keeping the lights on at the hotels and gas and food and lodging when we travel. We appreciate you. And thank you so much for the blessings. It is an honor to do what we do, guys. Check this out. Again, CNN getting torn up today.
Understand that even a temporary interruption in federal employment is a great crisis and catastrophe for you and for CNN. What the American people see is a government
for you
that
and
is
CNN.
Understand that even a temporary interruption in federal employment is a great crisis and catastrophe for you and for CNN. What the American people see is a government that is finally delivering a promise of accountability under President Trump. You want to have a conversation about transparency? Let me ask you a question. Do you have any idea where the $22 billion that the Department of Health and Human Services provided to illegal aliens under Joe Biden is right now? $22 billion with a B. That's enough to provide a free house to every homeless veteran in America. Where's the $22 billion? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Joe Biden just spent it, and now it's gone. Transparency begins with having an accounting of where every federal dollar is spent. And God bless President Trump for leading this effort. Understand
that was epic. What a takedown. Again, what a difference in the administration. Fighting for the American people, fighting for our tax dollars. It's just absolutely incredible. And once again, folks, don't forget 1775coffee.com. Go check them out. It said, have you heard of the recent advertising scandal? Let me break it down. The CEO of Rumble, Chris Pavlowski, recently released an email from Inspire Brands and Dunkin' Donuts. The email explicitly states the right-wing culture of Rumble is too polarizing. In other words, Dunkin' Donuts has a problem with right-wing culture and wants nothing to do with it or Rumble. So here's the solution. Stop buying products that don't support you and start supporting brands that do support you. The competing coffee brand that we all need to get behind is Rumble 1775 Coffee. For a limited time, Rumble is offering buy 2 bags of coffee and get 1 free. Go to 1775coffee.com and enter promo code Duncan to get this limited time deal. That's promo code Duncan at 1775coffee.com, promo code Duncan. Make sure you guys get in there. Start supporting the platforms that you're watching all day. Start supporting free speech. Again, we have a long journey ahead of us, guys, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Let's see what else we have to wrap up the show here. Some more border stuff, I think. Let's find out. Earlier today, we showed you a video of the deportation flights. And the Lincoln Project, the far left Lincoln Project, shared this. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'll show you the video again. It said, if Hitler had a social media account. And this is the White House account. They're saying that because these people are the people, just to give you an idea, these are the people that raped, robbed, pillaged your communities, broke into the country illegally, and they are hardened criminals, and that's why they are being deported. And the left thinks this is Hitler's social media account. This is actually the White House showing you promises made, promises kept. don't know about you, but it's kind of a relief to see that finally. We spent months and months on the border covering the invasion, thousands coming through a day. People who totally disrespect the American flag come over to the United States and start waving their country's flag. We were in El Paso when that group made a song about evading Venezuelans, held up their flag and made a song in their native language that was about evading Border Patrol and how Border Patrol couldn't catch them right on American soil, right on a corner of one of our streets here in the United States. And now that something's being done about it, these folks are triggered. Check this out. Recently deployed American drones have reportedly been taken to the skies over Mexico and to keep a strict surveillance over Mexican drug cartels. Now, there's some different, check this thing out. This has not been used before on our border as far as I can find or any history of it. And I think we have another a video here of Ali Bradley talking about it. Take a listen to this.
Mexico looking for the criminal drug cartels and their we're seeing these Reaper drones quite literally on the hunt in international airspace over in Mexico, looking for the criminal drug cartels and their fentanyl labs. They are ramping up their operations and combating these criminal organizations, something that the president, of course, promises to designate them as a terrorist organization. So these are called MQ-9 Reaper drones, and they're out there carrying out these stealthy, covert missions. And they are not currently armed, but they can be equipped with payloads for precision strikes. The CIA, however, has not been authorized to use these drones to take lethal action, officials told the New York Times, adding that they do not envision using these drones to conduct airstrikes. For now, the CIA officers in Mexico are passing information that is being collected by these drones to Mexican officials. They are adamant about finding these fentanyl labs, dismantling them, which apparently emit chemicals that make them easier to find from the air. And that's why they are doing this from the air with these drones, because of that access. Now, the CIA has reportedly flown surveillance drones to hunt cartels inside Mexico before, partnering with Mexican authorities. But here's the deal. With the more recent flights that were communicated to Congress, they were actually under the Trump administration using a particular notification that's reserved for new or updated covert programs that the CIA intends either to conceal or deny. That is what a source familiar with the matter said, adding that the notifications made no mention of Mexican partners this time around. So we talked with Darren Gobb. He is a geopolitical strategist, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Black Hawk pilot about the CIA's covert drone missions in Mexico. Take a listen to what he said.
For the most part, I do not want to see America trounce on its own constitution and just invade a foreign nation without a well thought out concept of how you get there, and having the people of this nation accept the risk through Congress to do something. Now, I'm not saying that we would decide to, quote, invade Mexico, but if you're crossing the border into a foreign country with the U.S. military forces intent on accomplishing something like that, that looks a lot like an invasion. And you've just changed the situation significantly.
Now, Nicole, when it comes to the Mexico side of things, President Sheinbaum, she was pressed on these drones breaching that airspace over in Mexico. She kind of played it off today during a news conference, just saying it's part of a little campaign. Now, when it comes to the president, he, of course, day one said he was going to crack down on the criminal cartels.
Information. Again, they have, so that corrected me. They have used these drones in partnership with Mexico for the cartels, but not to hunt the fentanyl labs. So again, we've heard Trump talk about fentanyl numerous times. He's brought on folks at his press conference whose children are dead now because of the fentanyl that's coming in through our southern border. And there's a big push to get that off the streets, and I'm hoping it gets off there. It doesn't matter where you're at in the United States. Doesn't matter if you're in the country, the foothills. Fentanyl's everywhere, and it's so cheap. When we were in, it's amazing how many people were smoking fentanyl. Well, last time we were in San Francisco, because there's such a high supply of it. Now, let me see if there's any other breaking news that we missed today. checking this out. That's some of the stuff we've already covered. Fights break out during Israel real estate event in Borough Park, Brooklyn. Police rush to separate pro-Hamas protesters and pro-Israel protesters outside the venue. Let's take a look.
Get out of here! Terrorists! 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 Out of here! Terrorists out of here! Terrorists out of here! Terrorists! I set your Quran on fire, bitch! Relax. You rat! Go back up! Fuck you! These guys don't thank you.
So there we have Hamas here in the United States, in New York. They've protested those Israel real estate auctions before. They've protested. Pro-Palestine protest breaks out on UCLA campus. I want to see if there's any video for this one. They have an overhead shot. We were on UCLA campus when they had all that stuff go down last time. That was quite interesting. Let's see. I don't see any video. Let me find that. Here we go. Yeah, this won't go over as well as when it was Biden, let me tell you. Let's see. Hold on. Nobody wants that. Skip ad. So this is UCLA campus. Again, pro-Hamas groups. That's right over there by the parking garage. So I guess that's all they have there. Let's see what else we're missing while we were live. See if there's anything else to cover for you. Checking to see. Senate has confirmed Howard Lutnick as Commerce Secretary, 51-45. Another nomination confirmed. See if there's anything else that looks like it's breaking. More stuff on. We covered that. Seems like we've covered almost everything today that's already came out. Let me hit this again. Police involved shooting, 111 police precinct, Queens, New York. Just another day. All right, so we're good to go, guys. I want to say thank you for tuning in to our second show today, another hour and a half Again, if you guys would like to help out, if you guys appreciate the content we provide and appreciate the work we put into it, you can donate at Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army, or givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And as always, don't forget, we have on the website, we have all kind of different gear that you can get it. We won stuff, all kind of build the wall stuff. It's another way to help support the platform, and we appreciate you. And so we're going to be heading off to church here shortly. But if something does break after 8 o'clock my time, we will be near the studio and we will be able to come live for you. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate you more than you know. And if we don't see you tonight, we'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.